We have had a look at a lot of YouTube related topics on this channel, from dark videos to dramas to mysteries. But recently I asked myself the question, what are the most bizarre YouTube controversies on this website? The ones that are just flat out weird. They might not be as dark as some of the other topics we've talked about, but they have been the home to some of the most interesting, compelling, and annoying characters on this website. So that's what we're going to be having a look at today. So here are the 5 strangest controversies on YouTube. Number 1. If you didn't watch YouTube in the early days, then the name Lonely Girl 15 might not ring a bell to you. But in 2006, she was one of the biggest channels on the site. She began by posting your stereotypical vlogs about her day, her hobbies, and her school. However, things started to get strange when she started talking about her family's religious beliefs and a peculiar group that they were a part of. This group sounded a little odd from the get-go, and as you can probably guess, it turned out to be a cult. At this point, the channel had gained around 100,000 subscribers and was one of the first ever channels to achieve this. This is where the controversy arose. Fans weren't sure if this was real or not. Bree, the girl in the videos, was staying in character and there were no major indications that this was fake. As expected, viewers began to get concerned about her well-being, so much so that they had to announce that this was in fact a scripted web series, an alternate reality game to be exact. Now, ARGs had been done before, but on YouTube they were essentially non-existent, which, when compared to today's standards, showed how ahead of its time this series truly was. And it worked. By March of 2007, Lonely Girl 15 was the #1 most subscribed channel on the entire site. The show had taken the website by storm, and for 2 years it was a dominant force on the platform. They stopped making videos in 2008, but made another strange video in 2016 that's worth checking out. There is almost 400 videos on this channel, so there's so much I didn't get into, but if you want to check it out yourself, feel free. Either way, Lonely Girl 15 and her strange web series is a very interesting and important part of YouTube's history, and those few months where everybody thought it was real was the first big controversy a YouTuber ever had. Number 2. In the early days of the YouTube gaming scene, a creator known as Athene was a big name. He played the MMO World of Warcraft and set numerous world records while doing so. On top of this, he was a charitable man, and in the early portion of the 2010s, he raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity and was generally considered to be a pillar of the gaming community. But in later years, things began to change. His relevance began to fade, and he had to rely on his most loyal audience members to stay afloat. But he didn't just rely on them for views and donations, he actually started to live with a few of them in a building that he called the Compound, a former retirement home and Nazi base in Germany where he lived with several people. They lived off a strict set of rules, and Athene was considered to be their leader. They lived by a strict ideology, and Athene was able to take advantage of how loyal his audience was. Later, he set up a cryptocurrency called Purpose that he openly admitted was a scam on multiple occasions, but this didn't deter some of his fans from investing in it. There is a lot more that can be talked about when it comes to Athene, as he has been at the center of a number of controversies. While a lot of his antics might be ironic or some kind of a troll, he is still playing that character to benefit him, and it seems like it's working.
The extent to which we are able to squeeze these poor suckers, you wouldn't believe it, and you're having trouble believing it right now. You're having trouble grasping it right now. But I would just say stick around in the chat for a few days and you will start to see what's really going on. But it takes a while for you to understand that this is exactly what's going on. We really built up this community. We took many years of slowly building up a hardcore base of dumb suckers that happen to have quite some money from rich mummies and daddies or something, and now we're finally cashing in on it. You can interpret the scam in many ways. That's another interpretation of it.
Number 3. Just like Lonely Girl 15, Dax Flame was a very popular creator in the early days of YouTube. He would sit in his room and tell his viewers stories in a quirky and interesting way, and while the concept was simple, it resonated with a lot of people, and by the end of 2007, Dax had around 60,000 subscribers and was one of the top 20 most subscribed creators on the platform. But with this newfound success, Dax became a subject of interest to an array of skeptics and critics who believed that these videos were fake. A YouTuber named Sigafu made a 30-minute expose piece about Dax, originally releasing information about his family and real life. He made a new 11-minute video where he redacted most of the exposing statements he originally made, but the video had the same goal: to expose Dax Flame for being an acted-out character. It's honestly hard to believe that people would care this much about whether or not a YouTuber was acting in his videos, especially in 2007, but it was a big conversation on the site. In later years, Dax would get roles in blockbuster movies like Project X and 21 Jump Street, which proved that he had an interest in acting. But in interviews, he was pretty much the same guy in his earlier videos, just slightly more subdued than his YouTube persona. The general consensus is that Dax was playing a slightly exaggerated version of who he actually was, which is definitely believable, but honestly, who cares? The guy made enjoyable videos and is an important piece of the website's history regardless of whether it was real or not. Number 4. In the beginning of 2018, a YouTuber known as Hiding in My Room posted a video entitled "Why I Have No Friends." The video featured a man named Daniel telling us why he didn't see the benefit in having any long-term acquaintances. That video ended up getting over 1 million views, and viewers were introduced to the strange, candid character that was Hiding in My Room. He would post videos giving us his strange takes on the world that mostly came from an introverted and almost nihilistic stance. However, Daniel isn't completely alone by any means. In fact, in Japan, where he currently resides, he is actually a married man. Granted, this marriage seems to be mostly for visa reasons, but the actual relationship is essentially real, and it's also very public. Every fight, every discrepancy, and every problem Daniel has with his wife is documented and talked about by him in a very raw and uncompromising fashion. Well, this seemed to have reached its boiling point when Daniel made a video explaining that he and his wife were no longer together. Daniel proceeded to stay at different Airbnbs, and honestly, he seemed to be in relatively high spirits for somebody who had gone through something as messy as a separation, and that is because it was fake. In an interview with Elvis the Alien, Daniel admitted that he had gotten back together with his wife and just neglected to tell his viewers, even though his entire channel was based on being as honest as possible about his life. It was a weird mess, and it's one of the examples of the many strange dilemmas that Daniel finds himself in. If you check his channel now, it's packed with controversial titles and topics, breakups and fights, and opinions that get him in trouble constantly. It's getting a bit tired and repetitive these days, but for the last 2 years, he has been one of the most controversial creators on this site.
I don't have a single friend. Do you think that's weird? Is it weird for someone of my age to not even have one person that I can call a friend? I don't really care about having friends. I don't mind not having friends. I've never really felt like I've really wanted to have friends. If I see a girl, usually I want to sleep with her, or I feel really unattracted to her, then I don't really want to have anything to do with her. We'll be talking about the financial benefits of using a rubber girlfriend instead of a real woman. No pregnancy, no STIs, no complaining. She doesn't say no, you can do it whenever you want to. And then once you're finished, you can just shove her back into the closet and then get back to whatever you were doing. Well, I've been using the Love Doll for about a week now, and you know in my previous video when I talked about not having to worry about STIs, turns out I was wrong about that.
Number 5. In August of 2007, a YouTuber named Rose, aka Randy Taylor 69, joined the website. She started posting videos almost immediately, and these were pretty standard for the time. Straight to camera vlogs where she talked about her day, her life, and her hobbies. In 2011, she posted a video on her gaming channel called How to Build a PC. This video was also pretty standard, but for some reason it was posted multiple times on various different message boards, including 4chan, and from there, Rose was subjected to some pretty intense and obsessive fans. This led to her being harassed, doxxed, and essentially stalked online to the point that she had to leave YouTube entirely, and in early 2013, she stopped posting altogether. She had amassed a modest following of just over 10,000 subscribers, but because she had stopped making videos, it was assumed that this is where her subscriber count would stay. But this surprisingly did not happen. Somehow, while Rose was completely inactive on the internet, she gained a cult-like audience. YouTuber Amir posted a video titled The Cult of Randy Taylor 69, where he showed just how loyal and intense her audience was. They made her subreddits, Instagram fan accounts, Twitter and Facebook pages, Steam communities, and more. Aside from these dedicated fan accounts, her actual YouTube page continued growing at a surprisingly fast rate. She's currently on around 130,000 subscribers, but she rarely ever posts. Now, she did come back a few times, but this was very rare. She posted about 10 times in the last 6 years, which is obviously very inconsistent and usually not enough to justify this level of growth. She is one of the most interesting cases on this site, but she does make entertaining content, and obviously she is resonating with quite a few people, so hopefully she will continue to post.
Despite that, despite being inactive, she has like a fandom, fan-made VK page, active as well. This was just posted yesterday. Fan-made Instagram, posting archived pictures with followers, and it's active. She has a board, an 8chan board made for her, right? Literally. She has a subreddit. Somebody made her a subreddit, an active subreddit. Last thing submitted was 2 days ago, right? She has a Steam group. All of these people are building for her a Steam group made for her. And it's an active Steam group.